My name is Rafael, you're watching Rock and Roll Garage. Today I'm going to show you 9 Beatles songs written by Paul McCartney that John Lennon liked. But first, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and leave your comment. Well, they were the most famous songwriting duo of all time, Lennon and McCartney. All the songs they wrote in the Beatles, although there are a few songs that Paul wrote almost everything and some songs that John wrote almost everything, but it was credited like a songwriting duo, although there were other songs they really wrote together. And there are 9 songs that Paul considers to be his songs, and Lennon also considered that John Lennon used to like. And I'm going to show you which tracks are those ones. We selected these songs that were mentioned in a few interviews John Lennon gave before his tragic death in 1980 at the age of 40. So the first one is Hey Jude. Now, it was first released as a single in 1968. And it's interesting because the song was... Paul was inspired after going to Lennon's house after Lennon decided to divorce from Cynthia Lennon, his first wife, and leave his son Julian Lennon behind, his first son. And Paul was like an uncle to Julian, and he went to visit Julian's mother and Julian, and all that, everything that was happening, all the sadness and everything inspired Paul to write Hey Jules. That was the way he used to call Julian, Jules. So that was the original name of the song, Hey Jules. And obviously he changed to Hey Jude later, and it became one of his signature songs for sure. And although it was inspired by a bad thing that happened in Lennon's and his family's life, Lennon liked the track. And he said that in an interview with Hit Parader in 1972. He said, "That's his best song. It started off as a song about my son Julian because Paul was going to see him. Then he turned it into Hey Jude. I always thought it was about me and Yoko, but he said it was about him and his." So it was actually about his son. And in an interview with Playboy magazine in 1980, he said, "I always heard it as a song to me. Hey, John." Subconsciously, he was saying, "Go ahead, leave me." On a conscious level, he didn't want me to go ahead. The angel in him was saying, "Bless you." The devil in him didn't like it at all because he didn't want to lose his partner. So, at the time after the Beatles were over, both of them thought there were some subliminal messages in a few songs, and that happened with Hey Jude, but it was actually about Julian Lennon and all that thing. The second song is All My Loving. And these other songs, John mentioned them in the interview with Playboy magazine that was released in 1980, shortly before his tragic death. And All My Loving is a song from with the Beatles, their second album, released in 1963, another classic Beatles song. And this is what John said. "All My Loving is Paul, I regret to say, because it's a damn good piece of work. All My Loving," he sang a part, "but I play a pretty mean guitar in the back." That's what John said in the interview. The third one that he mentioned was Oh Darling, another classic Beatles song, which was part of their Abbey Road album released in 1969. And this is what John said: "I should have written that song. It sounds like a song I'd write." So it's one of those Beatles songs that John wished he had written. The next one that he mentioned was Yesterday, certainly one of Paul's signature songs as well, which was released on their 1965 album Help. And this is what John said. Paul wrote the lyrics to Yesterday. Although the lyrics don't resolve into any sense, they're good lines. They certainly work, you know. If you read the whole song, you don't know what happened. She left and he wishes it was yesterday. That much you get, but it doesn't resolve or anything. I have got so much accolade for Yesterday, but that's Paul's song and Paul's baby. Well done. This is what he said about Yesterday, certainly one of the most famous songs written by Paul. The next one that he mentioned, it was Why Don't We Do It on the Road? Now this is a less known Beatles song, maybe almost a B-side. It was from their the White Album 1968. And this is what he said. That's Paul. He even recorded by himself in another room. That's how he was getting in those days. We came in and he'd made the whole record. Him drumming, also him playing the piano, him singing, but he couldn't. Maybe he couldn't make the break from the Beatles. I don't know what it was, you know. I enjoyed the track. Still, I can't speak for George, but I always hurt when Paul would knock something off without involving us. But that's just the way he was then. And that's another song. The next one that he mentioned, it was For No One. This is a track from their 1966 album Revolver. And this is what John said. One of my favorites of his, a nice piece of work. That's what John said about For No One. And we move to the next one, which is a track from the same album from Revolver, released in 1966, which is Here, There, and Everywhere, which curiously, Paul already said is one of his favorite Beatles songs. And this is what John said. Paul's Again. I think that was one of his best songs too, because the lyrics are good and I didn't write them. You see, when I say that he could write lyrics if he took the effort, here's an example. It actually describes the experience taking acid. I think that's what he was talking about. I couldn't swear to it, but I think that it was a result of that. That's what John said about Here, There, and Everywhere. And the next one he mentioned is from the Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. It's the track Fixing a Hole. And he gave a small explanation why he likes that song. He said, that's Paul again writing a good lyric. And the final one that we selected, it is from the maybe overshadowed Beatles album that I think is pretty good, which is Magical Mystery Tour, released in 1967, and it is The Fool on the Hill. And this is what John said. Now that's Paul, another good lyric, shows he's capable of writing complete songs. So that's what John said about Paul's songs, songs written mostly by Paul. And I hope you liked the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. If you want to read more, go to the description, revisit the article we wrote about that. Please like the video, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, and let's talk about it. Thank you for watching, and I see you later.